For when they shall say peace and safety, then shall sudden destruction come upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. And this is the sentiments of plantation Christianity. This is the sentiments from the mayor, the governor, the president. They're telling everybody that, hey, things will get better. They're not going to call the economists to give the grim prognosis. As far as the doomsday clock, the writing on the wall, the debt clock. Because once people that are actually in the know begin to speak, then people are going to be very worried. Right? And that's one thing about this government. That word government is a compound word. Govern means rule. Ment means the mind. They rule your mind. Right? And that's what the movie Men in Black kind of goes into with the neuralizer. They understand that if people truly understood how this government has no control and how vulnerable these people really were, they would riot, because this government, they want to give people the idea that they have everything under control. You have nothing to worry about, right? Well, the elite, right? Those Amalekites, right? The ultra rich among Esau, Edom, hey, they're already relocating to Europe. Just last week, they said before the presidency was revealed that a lot of people were shutting down their businesses and they're relocating most of them to Europe. Why? Because the writing is on the wall. They understand kingdoms rise and kingdoms fall. And as far as America, it's ran its curse. Like I said, even the angels, right? They had a counselor in heaven in relation to Sodom and Gomorrah. And Sodom was found wanting in those other 4 cities. America, Babylon the Great, hey, in the same fashion, it's slated to be destroyed. As per the words of prophecy, Revelation 19:10 said, the Spirit of our Lord, who the world ignorantly called Jesus Christ, is the Spirit of prophecy. You see how that works? Let me bring this out in the book of Esdras. This is 2nd Esdras, chapter 15, and I'm going to start with verse 1. 2nd Esdras, chapter 15, and I'm going to start with verse 1. And I'm going to read down a bit, so bear with me. This is 2nd Esdras, chapter 15, and verse 1. It reads, behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, said the Lord, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Fear not the imaginations against thee. Let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee. For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. Behold, said the Lord. Behold, said the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. For wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. Therefore, said the Lord, I will hold my tongue no more as concerning their wickedness, which they profanely commit, neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually. Right? It says, and therefore, said the Lord, I will surely avenge them, and receive unto me all the innocent blood from among them. Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt, but I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before. And smite Egypt with plagues as before. Once again, and smite Egypt with plagues as before. And I will destroy all the land thereof. Right? So this is not speaking about the Egypt of antiquity. This is speaking about the new Egypt. Because it stated, I will destroy Egypt with plagues as before. We already know the Egypt of antiquity was destroyed. It's sitting in the sand right now as a memorial to the nations on what happens when you oppress the Lord's people. When you just live lewd and, like I said, you're full of idols and witchcraft, right? They call it, what, the eighth wonder of the world? But you can see that it was great, right? But right now, it's been zapped. Why? Because, hey, the Most High sent plagues on the Egypt of antiquity. In Exodus 15 and 11, behold, I will bring them out with a mighty hand and stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and I will destroy all the land thereof. Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten, with the plague and punishment that God shall bring upon it. Right? Plagues as before. Right? I believe it's the book of Isaiah 11 and 10. Let me touch on that real quick. Right? Because the whole theme was, this is New Egypt. We were brought to serve captivity in a new land of bondage. In the same fashion that old Egypt, we were redeemed, we were delivered, and it was destroyed. The Most High said he's going to do the same thing as he did before. All right? The book of Isaiah, chapter 11 and verse 10. Thank y'all, brothers, for bearing with me. Isaiah 11 and 10 reads, and in that day there shall be a root of Jesse, which shall stand for an ensign of the people. To it shall the Gentiles seek, and his rest shall be glorious. And it shall come to pass that in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria, Egypt, Pathros, Cush, Elam, Shinar, Hamath, and from the isles of the sea. Right? Second Maccabees said he's going to unleash plagues as before. Isaiah the 11th chapter says, and it shall come to pass in that day, this is a future prophecy, that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people. Right? When did he set his hand out? The first time. That was in the Egypt of antiquity. Right? He said his hand a second time. And the reason why he's going to set his hand to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria, Egypt, Pathros, Cush, Elam, Shinar, Hamath, and from the islands of the sea, is because the Lord's people are scattered across the four corners of the earth. Psalms 44 and 11, Isaiah 11 and 10, I just read that. Ezekiel 11 and 16 goes into the scattering. Joel, the 3rd chapter, goes into the scattering. Baruch 3 and 8 goes into the scattering. Right? Amos 9 and 9, Deuteronomy 28 and 64 goes into the scattering. Is the Most High gonna just go into that land? He didn't go and save the natural heathen the first time. The first time he actually extended his hand to redeem his people, that was in ancient Egypt. So the same thing, now his people are scattered across the four corners of the earth. We're not just in one landmass. Therefore, he's gonna recover us a second time with an outstretched hand. And that's mercy, that's love, that's grace. And he's recovering not 2/3, not anybody but that 1/3 and his elect. Everybody else, hey, Zechariah 13 and 8 gets into the judgment that will be imposed on 2/3 of our people that don't want to get right in this place, right? I had to tie that precept in with the book of Maccabees, right? Because he's going to recover his people a second time from the land where we've been scattered, right? He's going to recover his people a second time from the land where we've been scattered, right? And a lot of our people, they don't want to be recovered. Like I said, they love this captivity. They love the so-called white man. They envy their oppressors. They trim their ways to seek love. Like I said, if it's a heaven that the so-called white man can't go to, they don't want to go to it, right? They'd rather not go. And this is why a majority of our people, hey, this is why judgment must begin at the house of God, right? The first people that the Lord's servants are going to jump on right? When we got that two-edged sword in our hand and we go slay utterly the old and the young, hey, it's gonna have to be our people that we get out of the way first. Psalms 149:5, right? Let the saints glory on their bed, a two-edged sword in their hand, right? When we go slaying the old and the young, it's gonna be folks from outside the military-industrial complex. It's gonna be people that have made oaths with these boule organizations that they refuse to denounce. It's gonna be those niggas that, like I said, love being able to sell drugs, rob, commit adultery. We're gonna have to get you niggas out of the way first, right? Let me bring this out real quick in the book of 2nd Esdras as it relates to, like I said, the intelligent Negroes that are among us, the so-called boule class, right? The Bible got you niggas lined up as well. This is the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 4 and verse 15, and it reads, I said 2nd Esdras 4 and 15, and 2nd Maccabees, chapter 4 and verse 15. It says, I'm gonna start with verse 14, and this is in relation to the boule class. Like I said, the ones that were running up on people last week, trying to get them to vote, trying to sign them up to vote, trying to get you to lock back into a system that is circling the drain, trying to get you to lock back into the heathen roundabout, the enemies that hate us, right? Just because they look up to them as their God. Just because they don't worship the Holy One of Israel. Just because they hold in high esteem these gods from ancient Greece, ancient Rome, Assyria, Babylon, right? They want to do what? Advisors to the king. Keep the 90% of us locked into this foolery, this frivolous act of voting, this frivolous act of trying to join into a society that was never meant for us to have our best interests in mind, right? These are the sentiments of the black boule, the talented 10th, the so-called advisors to the king, the ones that love the white man, worship him, and are doing everything to keep this system held up, right? This is 2nd Maccabees 4 and 15. It said that the priests had no courage to serve anymore at the altar, but despising the temple and neglecting the sacrifices, hastened to be partakers of the unlawful allowance in the place of exercise, after the game of discus called them forth. Here's the point. Not setting by the honor of their fathers, but liking the glory of the Grecians best of all, right? And that's what you see with these, like I said, post-secondary initiates that go and walk the burning sands and make their oaths and go through their Greco-Egyptian rituals, right? It said not setting by the honor of their fathers, but admiring and liking the glory of the Grecians best of all, right? Because even though they call themselves Hellenistic organizations, all of the deities that they serve go all the way back to ancient Babylon and ancient Egypt. Then you know this is the new Egypt, where those same gods, those same idols are being observed. By who? 2/3 of our people. If I can't beat them, I'm gonna join them. They can't see the system being toppled over and a more righteous, a more profitable system being raised from the ashes. No, they can't see that. So what they want to do, Psalms 49 and 11, their inward thought is to make this place last for all generations. They want to marry in this place, they want to have children here, and they want their children to be indoctrinated at the same institutions as they were. But as far as repenting, taking counsel with thus says the Lord, that's not in their heart. That's not in their mind's eye. And this is why the Most High has a controversy with a majority of his people. This is why the Most High is coming to bring great judgment, right? 1 Peter 4 and 17. Let me bring that out real quick, right? This is the book of 1 Peter, chapter 4 and verse 17. Because even though the white man, that's our chief enemy, we understand that a majority of our people, they love the white man. They want his acceptance. They want to be in proximity to him. Like I said, if you try to get at the so-called white man, you got the nigger woman that'll jump at you. Like I said, you got men that have taken oaths, foreign and domestically, that'll try to get at you, right? So you reach back and try to hit the white man, guess who's gonna grab your arm? It's gonna be another black, Latino, or Native American nigger that say no. So we're gonna have to turn around and we're gonna have to get the dissonance of our nation out of the way first. They're gonna have to be unaligned and removed first, as the Bible prophesied. All right, let's get this. This is 1 Peter chapter 4 and verse 17. It said, "For the time has come that judgment must begin at the house of God. And if it first begin at us, what shall be the end of them that obey not the gospel of God?" Right? It said, "For the time has come that judgment must begin at the house of God. And if it first begin with us, what shall be the end of them that obey not the gospel of God?" Right? And we are the house of God. Right? Even the 2/3, they're going to come into the kingdom in their right mind. But as far as righteousness is going to be carried over by the elect and that 1/3. But once again, judgment is going to have to begin with these wicked niggas. Men that are covertly amongst us that go back reporting to the so-called white man, trying to create testimonies and railing accusations against us. Men that are seeking out our liberties, that are amongst us. Here it is, we talking about the white man's the devil, and that Israel is wise to do evil. Our deeds have exceeded that of the wicked. That's just a terrible pill you have to swallow. Understanding that before we get down with these nations round about, we're gonna have to deal with the enemy within. Those that make oaths to keep this place up, those that totally sell their people out, those that have been compromised. Hey, the Most High is gonna put the spirit on us to do what? Execute the judgments written. And the future prophecy, once again, 1 Peter 4 and 17, let me bring it back out. First Peter chapter 4, verse 17, once again, it reads, "For the time has come that judgment must begin at the house of God. And if it begin at us, what shall be the end of them that obey not the gospel of God?" Hey, it's going to begin with us. But hey, that judgment is going to trickle into these other nations round about. And like I said, we don't want to have our hands tied up dealing with some coon-ass nigger when the Most High starts to pour out his righteous indignation in the earth and give us the ability to execute the judgments written. All right? This is Amos chapter 9 and verse 9. It said, "For lo, I will command and I will sift the house of Israel from among all nations like his corn is sifted in a sieve. Yet shall not the least grain fall upon the earth." Here's the point. "All the sinners of my people shall die by the sword, which say, the evil shall not overtake nor prevent us." You hard-hearted niggas that's real proud, that don't believe in the sky daddy and want to mock and scoff and speak these swelling words against the prophets, when we warning you niggas, it says, "All the sinners of my people shall die by the sword, which say, the evil shall not overtake nor prevent us." Right? All the sinners of my people. That's a possessive pronoun. Right? It said that they shall die by the sword. Right? Let me get this in the book of Ezekiel. Right? All the sinners of my people shall die by the sword. Like it says in Amos 3, "You only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore I will punish you for all your iniquities." Because what's iniquity? Sin upon sin. What is sin? Transgression of the law. Who was the law given to? Who was the audience that was at the bottom of Mount Sinai when Moses got the law from Yahweh? Those are the people that are under the law to this day. The law ain't done away with. The only law that is done away with is sacrificial law. Right? We not having to shed the blood of animals for the remission of sins. Right? Let me bring this down in the book of Ezekiel. This is Ezekiel chapter 9 and verse 4. And it says, and the Lord said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. And to the others he said, in mine hearing, go ye after him through the city, and smite. Let not your eye spare, neither have pity. Slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children, and women, but come not near any man upon whom is the mark, and begin at my sanctuary. That then they begin at the ancient men who were before the house, right? And that word mark in this context is the word tab, T-A-B, which means exempt from judgment, right? So the angel set a mark upon the men's head that sigh and cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof, right? But it said, slay utterly old and young, right? It's a lady over there, she's 75. She killed babies back in the 60s. She used to march for Margaret Sanger and Planned Parenthood. She encouraged a lot of women to kill their babies. That bitch gotta die. Old and young. We wouldn't give a damn if little Pookie or little Ray Ray, y'all sitting over there. Like I said, wicked as all can be, you disobedient, you thieves, you steal, you murder. We don't give a damn if your head is hoary or if it's bald. The scripture says, and to the others he said in my hearing, go ye after him through the city and smite. Let not your eye spare, neither have ye pity. Slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children and women, but come not near any man whom is the mark. And begin in my sanctuary. Then they began at the ancient men who were before the house. Right? He said, begin in my sanctuary. Judgment must begin at the house of God. Right? All the sinners of my people shall die by the sword. So just like with this frivolous political theater, bread and circus, right? This whole voting process that just went by. And our people, they jumped into it head first, thinking that they can actually influence the outcome. When presidents aren't elected, they're selected, right? But in the midst of all of the rigmarole, you had Israelites exhorting other Israelites to do what? Partake in this heathenistic custom of voting, right? That are doing everything they can to keep this system up and running, right? When, like I said, the wise men out of Babylon, they already know this place is finished. This place is wanting. This place is on life support and it can't be resuscitated, right? This is Isaiah chapter 30 and verse 1. It says, woe to the rebellious children, said the Lord, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin unto sin, that walked to go down into Egypt, and have not asked at my mouth, to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. Therefore shall the strength of the Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion, right? You know, this being a day after the president was actually announced, Donald Trump, man, you should see how a lot of the women of our nation, I mean, they are really losing it. They're online talking about how they hate God, you know, how they hate the black man. You know, they have totally took counsel, but not of God, right? They've totally put their trust and Pharaoh in the shadow of Egypt. Right? And it said, therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion. That's what you see all on TikTok, all on Instagram, all on Facebook. People, mainly the nigga woman, that's confused, that's totally out of their wits. Why? Because they trust in this political process. They think that they could influence the outcome. Wait, when promotion comes of the Most High, prosperity and adversity. Like it says in Proverbs 21, the king's heart is in the hands of the Most High. So as far as the outcome is happening exactly how the Most High wanted it to happen according to his will. To bring about change, right? Inevitable change. Ecclesiastes, the 3rd chapter change, right? Yeah, we're in a time of quote unquote peace. The Most High, he bringing in that change. He's ushering in war. Everybody is walking around with this pride, and they're pumped up, and they have this mind that they know that they're going to be good. The Most High is mixing that up right now, right? They're going from being confident to being what? Concerned. They're going from being headstrong to being what? Confused, right? And that's the Most High's determination, right? That Donald Trump continues to perform his role, his lot, as it pertains to biblical prophecy, to bring in what? Right? The mark of the beast, Revelation 13 and 16. Because one person that Donald Trump supported was Elon Musk. You're dealing with Elon Musk, you're dealing into transhumanism, Neuralink, right? The mark of the beast, right? It's only right, right? We've been seeing all of these signs that let us know that we're in the 11th hour of Babylon ruling, Babylon being influential in the earth. But this place has to close eventually. The term I was looking for was liquidated. You remember back in the day when you had your Kmart's and you had your Toys R Us, right? When they shut down a liquidation sale. That's what's happening right now, right? Anybody that has interest or anything invested in Babylon the Great, they're just having to restructure their situation. And they're preparing for the inevitable, right? I brought that out in the book of Isaiah, the 30th chapter. Let me bring this out in the book of Isaiah, the 31st chapter. All right? This is Isaiah chapter 31. It reads, woe to them that go down to Egypt for help and stay on horses and trust in chariots, but because they are many, and in horsemen because they are very strong. But they look not into the Holy One of Israel, neither seek the Lord. All right? Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help and stay on horses and trust in chariots because they are many, and in horsemen because they are strong. But they look not to the Holy One of Israel, neither seek the Lord. All right? And for the most part, what did they seek? What Kamala Harris, right? What you call a Hindu bed wench. Her name ain't even Kamala Harris. Her name is Kamala Imhal. She's married to a fake Jew, and she's raising both of his children. But you know that Harris name, you know, like Clifford Harris, that's T.I. real name. You know, Kamala Harris. It just sounds like a nigga name. And you know, she was handcrafted to deceive you niggas. She never gave a fuck about black men ever since she was a prosecutor out there in California. She got her start by doing what? Getting up underneath a black man that was married, Willie Brown. She was his side bitch. And he was the one that gave her these different appointments in these different offices, right? She even dated Montel Williams, right? Montel Williams, the talk show host, right? She went to Howard University, was a bust down at Howard University. But as far as her professional career as a lawyer, she did everything she can to criminalize black men. You know what I'm saying? If you had children and your children were not in school, as they call it, truancy, she would get you locked up. As far as child support, like I said, she was making laws hard for black men. But hey, that's par for the course with the black woman. They'll still support you even if, like I said, you have hatred and contempt for the men of their nation. But like I said, she didn't promise anything. Reproductive rights, that's just a fancy way of saying, you know, she wants to give women the ability to be whores, you whores, right? Not take accountability and just whack your baby whenever you're ready. Reproductive rights is the right to kill your babies. They call it pro-life. Oh, I'm sorry, pro-choice, right? They use euphemisms. One is pro-life. And if you're about killing the babies, it's not pro-death, but they call it pro-choice. So they can still have this veil over them that they're not murderers and wicked, right? But that was the main thing that she was championing to our women, right? And a lot of them, they went in droves to do what? Vote for the right to continue to kill our babies. Genocide. Like I said. And our women, I'm talking about Micah 7:10, says, she that is mine enemy. They're our enemy on this present time. Most of them, they are totally locked into Babylon the Great. They want to continue to have the liberty to gad abroad and abuse themselves. They still want to have the liberty to usurp authority over their man. Yeah, we're the most educated. We are gainfully employed. But what has the black woman done to the black family? She's destroyed it. Going all the way back to the 1960s through feminism. Gloria Steinem, a CIA operative. Margaret Sanger, a CIA operative. Right? They set these women up to do what? Influence our women to follow them into being for their gender as opposed for the family. And a lot of them now, like I said, they have their jobs. They have the crumbs that the so-called white man throws at them. And the last thing they want is to lose any of the dainties and the benefits that the white man is giving them so that they, like I said, could usurp authority over the men of their nation. They don't have to listen to us. They just listen to their boss. Career women that, hey, I'm not ready to be a mother right now. I want to fuck, I want to suck, but I don't want to deal with the responsibilities that come with it. I don't want to be accountable for being a slut and a whore in the streets. And they always want to bring forth the small amount of rape. No, if you're out here in the streets, gathering abroad, carrying yourself like a slut, and you get raped, that's called cause and effect. That's what they want. They want the liberty to be these sluts and still have this Roman, the military arm of the Roman Empire to back them up. But this is why, like I said, judgment is going to begin with you bitches. Then the white man get taken out of the way, and that's when feminism goes out, right? Micah 7:10, I got to bring it out. Because our women are disgusting. Eve was beguiled by Satan in the garden, being the weaker vessel. If they're not under the hedge of protection of their father or their man, hey, they open prey. They've been weaponized against us. Hey, shout out to you few sisters that are out there that are being obedient to your man, that are confessing your sins and repenting. It's not talking about y'all. Y'all are doing what you're supposed to do. But we talking about a majority of these bitches a majority of these whores, a majority of these sluts that, like I said, have committed abortions, right? That advocate for abortions, that advocate for equality, that advocate for feminism, women's liberation, that want to see the men of our nation, right, in a subordinate position, right? Y'all bitches are going out of style. And as I go throughout my travels in Babylon, even when I speak to men, last year everything was about the female, the female, the female, the female, the female. Now men are talking about what we need to do to get right. So we're not even worried about you women no more. The Most High has a controversy with you. And it's only a matter of time that, hey, if you wicked, you're going to be taken out of the way. Old, young, especially these women. Micah 7:10 reads, "Then she that is mine enemy shall see it, and shame shall cover her, which said unto me, Where is the Lord thy God? Mine eyes shall see her, mine eyes shall behold her. Now shall she be trodden down as the mire in the streets." See, one thing about this so-called white woman, even when Trump was running against Hillary Clinton, you would think that the white woman, being the champion for women's liberation and feminism, would wholesale support Hillary Clinton. When the results came out, a majority of white women voted for Trump, even though he made these inflammatory statements about grabbing them by the pussy, get caught making all type of degrading comments about women, having locker room talk. One thing the white women understand that you black bitches don't. That white woman understand she's gonna need someone to protect her from the black man, the Arab man, the Chinese man. But you nigger women, right? Y'all don't understand, y'all got enemies in the earth, right? And since y'all look at that white man, I guess that's who y'all look at as God, since y'all been weaponizing them against y'all men for so long, taking them up through the courts, calling 911 on them, removing and kicking them out of the house, putting babies on these men that are not theirs, paternity fraud, right? A lot of y'all don't want to lose that advantage and the advantages that the so-called white man is giving y'all over y'all men. So y'all been weaponized against us. And we ain't worried about you hoes, because the Bible already said, "She that is mine enemy, she shall see it." And shame is gonna cover you. Once these nations, the so-called white man, roll on you like he rolled on your great-grandmamas, once the white man start firing you from your jobs, once the white man start raping you, and like I said, the spirit of Jeffrey Dahmer is released out in the earth, once these women realize that y'all are being kidnapped and sex trafficked at an all-time high, that's when you're gonna realize it, and shame is gonna cover you. And in that day, trust me, the very man that has been appointed to be your protector, to be your provider, y'all done pissed him off. And y'all gonna realize it. This is when Isaiah 4:1 gonna kick in, right? And hey, you read Isaiah 4:1, it's a future prophecy. And this Isaiah 4:1 symbolizes, Isaiah 4:1 symbolizes the end of feminism. Yeah, you women that don't want to be polygamous, oh, we were into polyandry. If you can have multiple wives, I can have multiple husbands. Bitch, the Bible don't push polyandry, it pushes polygamy. Oh, but in the spirit of feminism, anything we can do, y'all want to do. Anything that the Most High point us to do, y'all want to stand shoulder to shoulder with us. Oh, you don't want to be a helpmate. You don't want to serve us. You don't want to submit to us. But rather, you think we're here to serve you. Oh, okay. Well, hey, 1 Corinthians 14:33 says God is not the author of confusion. That ain't nothing but a bunch of confusion. And the Most High is bringing order back into the land. 1 Corinthians 14:40 says, hey, let everything be done decently and in order. 1 Corinthians 11:3 gives you the divine order. If you got a problem with that, you just anti-Hamashiach. Hey, and it's gonna have to go down starting with you first. Since righteousness is something that you're supposed to be teaching to the children, right? Titus 2 and 3, let the aged woman teach the young woman to be good mothers and good wives, to be loyal to your husband. Since y'all don't want to get down with the order in the Bible, hey, we're gonna move you out of the way, and we're gonna raise up women in righteousness in the kingdom. You're just collateral damage, unfortunately. And you beta men that want to push feminism, and just go ahead and just castrate yourself and put on a pink damn skirt until you be destroyed, right? Because behind all of these women that are out of order, it's some bullshit ass pastor that's telling them to continue in error, emboldening them to continue in error, right? It's always some beta, broke back, effeminate male that can't call these women out. You scared of them, or you want what's between their legs? So what, you'll just make yourself a servant for their sake? Nah, damn that. This is the thing of men that understand that, hey, look, it's not even advantageous. It wouldn't even be, although it's permissible, to have multiple women in this time. It wouldn't even be expedient. Most women ain't nothing but a distraction. That's just a tool that Satan will use to vex you. And trust me, I love women. And I catch a lot of hell behind women in this captivity. Yeah, you get that comfort that comes with sleep, but you're gonna experience a lot of trouble in the flesh. You see that? But they take counsel, but not of God. They make the shadow of Egypt their refuge. They trust in the new Egypt, the so-called white man. He is the Pharaoh in this modern day time, right? And they love to have it so. A reality with their men in power, oh man, that's a nightmare that a lot of these women don't want to experience. You see that? So hey, let me go ahead and bring this out in the book of Revelations. I'm gonna start with chapter 17 and verse 16. I'm about to wrap it up in a second. This is chapter 17 in the book of Revelations. I'm gonna start with verse 16. And it reads, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. For God hath put it in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree, and to give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of God shall be fulfilled. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth. Right? So this is going into World War III. Right? It goes into verse 16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. And this is going into NATO and the EU, the European Union and NATO. Right? We got Brexit. Right? You have all type of countries that are separated from the American monetary system, the petrodollar, right? And they have already began to back up their currencies with something other than American oil, America's petrodollar, right? They understand getting in bed with America, what has it done for their country, right? In exchange for their resources, right? They've had to adopt America's philosophies, America's way of being. And now their youth, their country is gone to shambles. In the nations, they are mad at what? Babylon the Great, that has spread its diverse wickedness throughout the earth, right? But it said the 10 horns shall hate her, right? And this is going into the Third World War, World War III, right? Let me bring this out in the book of Revelations 18, right next door. This is Revelations chapter 18 and verse 1. Run! This is Revelation chapter 18 and verse 1. It says, and after these things I saw and another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lighted with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, has become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all the nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. And the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. Right? Just like it says in Micah 2 and 10, Arise and depart, for this is not your rest. Right? Where will we find rest? By seeking the old path wherein is a good way. And there we will find rest. Right? But right here, it said, And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, and be not partakers of her plagues. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and God hath remembered her iniquities. And this is literally us being called into those chariots to avoid the thermonuclear annihilation. Because the Bible talks about that lake of fire. And that's exactly how it will look from us being caught up into those chariots of salvation, looking down on the destruction. Right? After the Most High said, Come out of her, my people, and be not partakers of her plague. That's us ascending into those spiritual vehicles, right? That will be, okay. All right? So come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye may not receive of her plagues. Right? Because Second Ezra, the 16th chapter, goes into plagues. Right? Famine is a plague. Right? Thermonuclear annihilation is a plague. Disease is a plague. Second Ezra, the 16th chapter, he said, They come out of her, my people, that you be not partakers of her sins, or that you receive not of her plagues. This is when judgment is coming down unto Babylon the Great, the new Egypt, chiefly. Right? And Isaiah, I believe the 13th chapter entails how Babylon will never be inhabited again. Right? The earth and the fullness thereof, the earth shall abide forever. Right? But as far as Babylon, America, this is going to be just a memorial. This is going to be a place for newly created creatures to dwell. Let me go ahead and get that real quick, because this place is going to be blown to smithereens. Intercontinental ballistic missiles will be shot on America, Babylon the Great, from all of its lovers. Right? This is the beast. That's all I just got into. The beast hating the whore. Let me see if I can get this real quick in the book of Isaiah, the 13th chapter. All right, let me see if I can get it real quick. Here it is. This is Isaiah chapter 13 and verse 19. It says, In Babylon, the glory of the kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency, shall be as when all right, once again, it says, In Babylon, the glory of the kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency, shall be as when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. It shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. Neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there, neither shall the shepherd make their fold there. But wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures, and owls shall dwell there, and satyrs shall dance there. And the wild beasts of the islands shall cry in their desolate houses. And this is Isaiah 13:22. And the wild beasts of the islands shall cry in their desolate houses, and the dragons in their pleasant palaces. And her time is near to come, and her days shall not be prolonged. Right? It said, once again, in Isaiah 13, it says, and her time is near to come, and her days shall not be prolonged. Right? Babylon the Great, her time is soon to come, her days will not be prolonged. Right? Let me bring this out real quick. All right, so Akim, my clip actually broke on my phone, but I'm gonna go ahead and finish out real quick with a couple of precepts. Thank y'all for your patience. I'm gonna bring this out in 2nd Esdras 9 and 13, because in this time, you always gonna have a 2/3 club. Zechariah 13 and 8 goes into how 2/3, 2 parts therein to be cut off and die, right? And one thing about the majority, a lot of times we'll get frustrated with our people that can't get right, our people that are totally joined into the system, our people that are hell-bent on doing wickedness. But we need to just, like I said, temper our frustration and understand that, hey, there's still a remnant that's out there that is doing right. Right? Even though a majority of our people are doing wickedness, we can't really focus on, like I said, the dissonance of our nation, because if they don't get right, hey, they're gonna have to deal with all of the said perils that are in the scriptures, right? But what we want to do is lock in with those that are doing right. Continue to pray for brothers, pray for sisters, pray for their children, pray for their families, pray that God continues to give them strength to endure. And, pray that God continues to give them peace. Pray that Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai, continues to look out for them as we go into this hard time that our nation has never, had to deal with, called Jacob's trouble, right? Our nation has had to deal with it, but not in its perfection, like it's about to come down right now, right? So let me bring this out in the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 9. All right? This is 2nd Esdras, chapter 9, and I'm going to start with verse 13. It says, and therefore be thou not curious how the ungodly shall be punished, and when, but inquire how the righteous shall be saved, whose the world is, and for whom the world is created. Right? One more time. I'm going to bring this out. This is 2nd Esdras chapter 9 and verse 13. It says, and therefore be thou not curious how the ungodly shall be punished, and when, but inquire rather how the righteous shall be saved, whose the world is, and for whom the world is created. Right? Hey, that's the elect. The elect are going to bring righteousness over into the new kingdom. Right? In the midst of everything that goes on, the scripture said, hey, be not curious with how 2/3 of our people, a majority of them, are going to get judged. Don't even too much focus on them, but rather focus on the righteous and how they're going to be saved. Because that's who the world was made for, and that's who the kingdom is being prepared for. Right? Let me bring this out in the book of Matthew 24 and 14, as I do every week. This is Matthew chapter 24 and verse 14, and it reads, and this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world as a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. Right? It said, and this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. Right? And hey, the reason why this gospel, the good news, is going to be preached to all nations is because we've been scattered in every nation. We speak every tongue, right? So you're not an Israelite based upon your language, where you're born, your skin tone. It says in Romans 8 and 16, it is the spirit that bears witness with our spirit that we are the children of God, right? And this gospel is going to be preached throughout all the earth, because they say in John 15:22, no one is going to have a cloak for their sin. No one is going to be able to use ignorance as a reason why they didn't choose to confess their sins and repent and get right, right? No one will be able to stand before the judgment seat and say, I didn't know. Why? Because the Most High, like I brought out in Matthew 22:9, Luke 14:23, he sent his men across the four corners of the earth in every major city, and most of all, the information superhighway, right? So everyone is either being marked for life, like in Ezekiel, the 9th chapter, or you're going to be marked for death, like it says in Romans, the 13th chapter, right? And that's another end time prophecy. This chip, right? Like I was talking about Trump being elected and Elon Musk supporting Trump. Hey, Elon Musk is going to want him to fast track any of these end time devices, right, that are going to bring these end time prophecies to light. One being the mark of the beast, where you won't be able to buy, sell, or trade without taking the mark. It's written up in Revelation 13:16. That's what we coming out here to do, tell our people, don't take the mark, but rather right now lock in and trust that the Most High is going to be with you, and regardless of whatever circumstances you go through. Lack of food, lack of job, lack of house, the Most High, he's already given you a way out. But through faith, hey, you got to make the sacrifices and start putting in the work in this time, you know, while the day is still light, right? Hey, so with that, I'd like to end by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahawashi, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash. Hey, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that teach and rule well. And many blessings and much love to you brothers that are laboring in true faith and sincerity across the four corners of the earth, doing your best to make your calling and election sure. Hey, y'all brothers, keep up the honorable work. We almost out of here. Lord willing, I'll make it out next week. Hey, until then, Ahavia, Ababa Ball. Shalom.